welcome or welcome back to 4F Beauty. When will I be YouTube famous? I don't know. And neither do my beautiful girlies from the Beauty YouTuber Growth Group. However, we will continue to mention each other in our films in the hope we can spread the love of makeup and perhaps the love of our channels just that little bit further. Now, today's film is one of my low-buy updates. I have made my February purchase and I am so excited because I have wanted this palette for so long, but I couldn't afford it when it first came out, and then it went out of stock and then nobody had it anyway, and then there was a seller on Depop. And I got this, the Dominique Lemonade palette. For 20 quid. So, if you want to find out just exactly how I achieved this beautifully summery look at the beginning of February when it's cold and overcast and the sun has just broken through the clouds to make me look like a liar. Awesome. So if you want to know exactly how I achieved this look, grab a drink, grab a snack, put your feet up. Here comes the tutorial. Hey, welcome back from the intro. You would have seen this in the intro. Now, this is one of my low buys. I'm going to flash up on screen and I'm just going to refer to it on my phone to make sure I'm going through it in the right order, because pain, vibrofog, brain, today. Right, so as of end of January, if I move this way a little bit, I'll put the list up here. This was what my list looked like. So I've taken Hourglass, Viseart, Sugar Pill and Coloured Rain off. Now I know that's a lot to take off in 1 month. I'm only meant to be buying one thing. But if you remember, the Hourglass I actually bought New Year's Eve, so it's before my low buy. The Viseart was a gift from one of my lovely subscribers. Okay. And then the reason I got Sugar Pill and Coloured Rain is because I won a giveaway from Panic Antics, and she sent me a gift card for Beauty Bay, and because Beauty Bay had got a sale on, I could afford to try individual pans from both companies. So that's why there's 4 things crossed off already. Now, you'll see Linda Hallberg or Hallberry on there, because I was so drawn in by her Christmas palette, which looked like that. Because I thought, oh, that just looks so metallic and so shiny. And then I watched Angelica Nyquist's film where she did some looks with that particular palette. And when she swatched it, kind of looked like that. Not what I was expecting. So for now, editing me is going to hate me. I'm so sorry, editing Ange. Just, I'll be nicer next time. There's a lot to talk about. So my list now looks like this, because I've taken Linda Hallberry off and I've popped Cleona Cosmetics on, because I love their RKO and Paleo palette, although they're slightly out of my price range. But they also do individual pans, so keeping an eye out on those. So the new list, having taken Linda off and putting them on, now looks like this. So this is the list as of February the 1st. I have wanted this palette since it came out. Couldn't afford it when it came out, then it sold out, then you couldn't get it anywhere. However, on YouTube, not on YouTube, that's what I'm on Depop, oh I told you it's a bad day, sorry folks. On Depop, someone was selling this for quite a steep price to be fair. So I messaged and said, look, is that the absolute best price you can do? Really interested, but not prepared to pay that much for it. She came back and she went, how about 20 quid? I'm like, oh, let me just bite your hand off and say thank you, please. So I managed to get this, the palette I have been lusting after for a long, long time, for 20 quid. This made me very happy girly, so I can now take off of the list Dominique Cosmetics. So, list is now looking a bit scruffy, so I've redone the list, and because I've got so many off of my list already, and it's still only the middle of February, we haven't even hit Valentine's Day yet when I'm filming this, I thought I'd redo my list. I've stuck Violet Voss as my maybe up into my I do want to try them, and I've added two more companies, so there's Igneous Cosmetics, Cleona Cosmetics, and now Violet Voss on my I want to try them this year. And then my maybe try is Divina Cosmetics and Luxie Beauty. Now the reason I haven't gone and bitten the bullet on them yet is because although they deliver to the UK, they don't offer any tracked service. So basically if it goes missing in the post, tough luck, they won't refund you, they won't send you replacements, etc. So I'm contemplating, do I do like a My Mailbox thing or USA Mail or whatever the cheapest service is, order some bits from America that either doesn't ship here, so I could, you know, maybe pick up another butter bronzer without it costing me a fortune, maybe pick up some other bits and pieces that are only available in America that don't ship here yet, and get it all shipped over in one fell swoop. So I'm kind of contemplating that at the moment, unless anybody else knows a way that I can try Divina or Luxie with a guaranteed service. Right, it's now time to try this palette. Right, I have done swatches. Admittedly, I did them under artificial light. Apologies for that, but I started trying to film this morning at about 5:30. Then the neighbours put their music on. So loud it was being picked up on my camera. I need to go and get my nails done today, so I can't tit about. I've got to get stuff done. That includes putting a slap on my face. So, my alarm is about to go off to remind me that I need to take some tablets, but I took them before I sat down, so let me turn that alarm off for a minute so it doesn't suddenly blare out at us. Right, I'm going to put the swatches up on screen here as I zoom you in. Warning, I'm going to be very up close and personal when the screen clicks back off again, so yeah. One thing I did notice with this is when it arrived, all of the shimmers had hard pan. I don't know if that's why she was selling it, because she didn't know how to get rid of hard pan. But it'd be interesting. I have taken the hard pan off of all of them, as you can see. I just basically did the old sticky tape test. Put it on, pushed it in with my knuckle, peeled it off, takes the top layer off, boom, shadow's usable again. And I noticed when I did that, they're very, very softly packed. So I am going to make a point of using my Royal and Langlickel brushes, because I think those are going to work best with these. Right, let's get you zoomed in and go through the colours. We have got Lemon Soda, Pink Lemonade, Nude Tea, peach and cucumber. And then on the bottom row, mango, and I've got to be honest, that's the colour that called me most. Sweet tea, chai tea, strawberry, and a blueberry fizz. And hello, I did warn you I was going to be very up close and personal, didn't I? Right. As I said, I'm going to be using my Royal and Langnickel brushes. So I'm starting off. I have cleaned these off on my washcloth, but obviously there is a bit of staining from the previous palette that I've used. So I'm going to start off with a big old fluffy brush like this to do the majority of my blending, and then I'm going to come down to this packer style brush to do my lid. Now, when I look straight forward, you can see all of my mobile lid from inner corner to outer corner, so I don't have hooded lids. If you don't see that, you've either got a full or a half hooded lid, or what's known as an Asian or a mono eye. Now, you can still follow my tutorials. If I pop my brush here and then close this eye, you can see I've got just as much lid space again that folds back in. So I do suffer from some of the same problems that people with hooded lids have, so I do get transfer of shimmers up onto my upper lid. Fortunately for me, because my eyes are deep set, you only really notice that if I'm blinking, winking, or falling asleep. You can get around that by using glitter glue, and if I'm going somewhere particularly important, for example weddings, I will use a glitter glue just to make sure that everything stays where I want it. But just because you have hooded eyes doesn't mean you can't follow my tutorial. Get yourself a flat brush like this, or a pencil brush, or just something that you can do a very precise line with. Pick up the first colour, and with your eyes open, just sketch out where you would need your crease to fall. Obviously, that means you will have reduced the space between your crease and your brow, because I can actually follow, that's my eye socket just there, so I can actually follow that line round. Because you've had to move your crease up, and because we're only using the one size brush this time, always lift your brows when you're applying eyeshadow, because this helps to tauten the skin. Because I'm 44, I've lost over 10 stone, so my eyelids move. And this side, because I'm blind in this eye, can you see these super deep creasing that I have here? That's because my eye was pulled around when I was 5 and 6 years old at the ophthalmic hospital. Do not pull the skin on your eyes around any more than you have to. So, I'm going to be using this really thick fluffy brush. Obviously, if you've that's going to splay the colour out like that. If you don't have that much space, because I like to leave 4 or 5 mils below the lowest part of my brow, so about a brush width, so that I get a clear strip here. It shows the brow highlight off nicely. It's also more youthful, makes the eyes look more awake. Obviously, if you've got hooded eyes or you've got low brows and you have less space, then just start off with a more tapered blending brush. Make sure it's still loosely packed so it blends, but just start off with one that's much more tapered at the top. Okay? If you're really struggling, you can always get what's known as a tapered crease brush. This particular one is from Coastal Scents, and you can see it comes right up to a point, so it really controls exactly how far the shadow will blend out. Now, obviously, the smaller the brush, the more work you're going to have to put in to blend it out. It won't blend out as quickly or as far, but my tutorials are aimed at everybody from beginners to experts. So, beginners will be able to keep up with me. Experts, there's a speed widget either up there or down there. Feel free to speed me up. I'm going to sound like Chucky the Chipmunk, but you know what? I don't care. I always do real-time blending. It gives you an idea of exactly how long it takes to achieve a look, and it means that beginners don't feel rushed and don't have to keep pressing pause, etc. Right, enough waffling. My face has been washed, moisturised, SPF'd and primed Today I have gone in with my Dayun Dr. Feelgood face cream. Now this, I've been trying to get hold of the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer because I want to see whether it is. Everyone says it's a dupe for Tatcha, and I can't afford Tatcha, but this looks in consistency to be very similar to e.l.f. and to Tatcha. And this cost me, I think, £4 from AliExpress, this Dayun. And I know Dayun is a good brand, so I had no worries about buying that. On my eyelids, I have got concealer, which I have then set with Coty Airspun. Now, in this palette, Nude Tea is a matte shade which is close to my skin tone, maybe a shade lighter. If you've got a shade in the palette that is like that, close to your skin tone, 1 or 2 shades lighter, shadows from the same palette always tend to blend best on themselves. I'm tapping off in my colour switch, but because the sponge is tearing a bit, I'm using my washcloth to clean colours off in between. Now I've just picked up some of that Nude Tea on here, and I'm just going to run that all over from brow to lash line. Although we've already set the lid, having this particular shade, which obviously is the same formula as the other mattes in this palette, I find just helps them blend just that little bit quicker and a little bit easier. If you don't have a shade that works for your skin tone, it really doesn't matter, just make sure you have set your lids, okay? Alrighty, I am going to go into the colour that has been calling me since I first saw this palette, and that is Mango. These are super, super soft. Look at that, before I tap off, I've just literally just tapped into the palette once, twice, 3 times, and this is how much pigment has been picked up. So, tap off so we don't get a huge amount of fallout. And I'm going to start off with the windscreen wiper movement from the outside edge to the inside and back again, just to lay my crease line down. Now obviously I'm following my eye socket. If you've had to move your crease up, you follow the line that you've laid down. Okay? See, when I close my eye, or lower my eyelids, eyebrow, oh Lord. You'd never think English is my first language, would you? When I lower my eyebrows, you can still see that colour all the way around. If you couldn't, I'd know I need to move it up a little bit. Okay? Right, I'm going to pick up a little bit more of that Mango, and now I'm going to do circular movements, because by doing circular movements it gently moves your skin around and stops you from getting that kind of barcoding or striping. I'll illustrate what I mean with this eye, because with these creasing the circular movements don't work effectively, but when I get to that eye I'll show you what I mean. So we're going to start off here again. We're going to do little tiny circles all the way across to the middle. When we get to the middle, without taking our brush off our skin, we're going to lift up slightly, reverse the direction of the circles, and come back again. And if you're like me and you've got deep set eyes, you can go up again, go back to the original direction, and come back along, remembering to leave that gap at the top there. This is such a buttery shadow. Wow. Now I struggle here and here to get pigments to lay, partly because that's where I get stress eczema, and also because of, you know, creasing and old age and stuff. So I've just picked up a bit more pigment. I'm just going to tap here. I'm not too worried about here because I'm going to add some darker shades later, but I just want to make sure that I've definitely got that colour all the way up. So I'm just going to gently tap rather than doing the circles. Just tap away, and I am tapping in circles, but I'm not actually moving the skin. I'm just tapping over it in circles, just to make sure that I've got the intensity of colour that I want. Okay, right, now it's time to repeat that on the other eye. Now obviously I'm not going to go through it quite as slowly. I'm going to show you the normal sort of blending speed that I would do if I wasn't talking you through. So I'd go through my crease. Obviously I can close this eye, and then circles, and I'm holding the brush right at the very end so that I put as little pressure on my skin of my eye as possible. Okay, so we just do exactly the same thing. I'm just going to pick up a wee bit of extra pigment and just pop it up on that corner, same as we did with the other eye. Now, if I very gently stretch this out, you probably can't see with this, I'll show you with the deepest shadows. Obviously I can close this eye, being blind in it, but you know, if I close this one there's not a lot of makeup going to happen. Right, got the washcloth, and I'm just going to gently wipe the brush on the washcloth to get any, it's a dry washcloth, just to get any excess pigment off of the brush. And then I'm going to go into Sweet Tea, pick up some pigment on that one. Okay, beautiful, beautiful pumpkin colour. And I'm going to start off in doing exactly the same thing. So sweep it through the crease in a windscreen wiper movement, backwards and forwards. Now, this time when I pick up the pigment, I'm not going to go up the eye. I'm still going to do circular movements, and I'm still going to go in more than one direction, but I'm not going to travel up the eye. Let me show you what I mean. I'm going to tilt my head back slightly so you can see. So, circular movements across to the middle, not raising the brush up but still reversing the direction, and come back again. So try and keep the bristles in contact with that line that we put down at first. And we can do this a couple of times until we're absolutely happy with how that has blended out. These brushes from Royal Langnickel are amazing, by the way. I have ordered more. I like them so much. And again, I'm just going to tap a little bit of extra pigment on here, because this is somewhere that I do struggle again. Here and up there are the places I struggle most. And when I add the final dark colour on, I still want to be able to see both of these colours. I still want to be able to, I want to let them both have their moment. I'm going to take any excess colour off of this brush for a minute. I'm just going to dip back into Mango, the lighter shade, and very gently do tiny, tiny, tiny little circles just on the edge of where those two colours meet, just to softly blur the line so you can't quite see where one colour finishes and the next one starts. See? And hopefully you can see the difference that makes to the eye. Okay, clean the colour off the brush again, back into Sweet Tea, and we're going to repeat the same thing with the other eye. So, always start off with our windscreen wiper to give us a guide. And then pick up some more pigment. And it's helicopter time, or sycamore leaf, or twirly whirlies. Oh, makes me want a curly whirly now. That was a candy bar here in the 80s. It was chewy caramel with chocolate coating. Oh, it was nice. It only used to cost 5.5p. Don't even have half pennies in the UK anymore. Right. You also get a fair bit of waffling with me, so, you know, welcome to my world. You can see a bit clearer now what I was saying about the tiger striping. If you do get that because you have got deep creases and the circles don't work for you, gently stretch the eye out and as lightly as you can just blend those out. Don't put too much pressure on, and don't pull your lid about like that unless you absolutely have to. Otherwise you will end up with creases like that, and I can assure you over the years they will only get worse. Right, back into Mango, pick up a little bit of that and just blend over where those two colours meet. And you can see this is a really juicy looking, I mean, you know, for a summer look you could just leave it like this, pop a bit of highlighter on your lid and off you go. But I want to use as many of these colours in here as I can today. So I'm taking the pigment off of the brush and I'm going to go into Chai Tea. Wow, this has got some kick up. This has got the most kick up of all of them so far. Now that doesn't worry me because I can go back in and pick that kick up next time round, but I'm going to make sure I tap that off quite well. I'm just going to start off this time. I'm just tapping that colour on the outside corner of the eye, like so. That's a beautiful colour, isn't it? And then I'm going to go back in and pick up some of that kick up off the top. And I'm going to very gently go about halfway along with this deeper shade. And just keep blending backwards and forwards with it. And a tiny wee bit of blending, a little bit of circular blending like so. So we'll leave, the orange still has its moment because it still has the inner bit here and just above the outer edge. But that just gives a little bit of extra definition to the eye. I hope you can see that. And we're going to repeat that this side. So tap the pigment onto the outer third of the eye. We'll be patient. It's much easier to add more than it is to try and remove what you've put on there already. And then go about halfway along your crease, backwards and forwards. And then add a little bit of twirly-whirlying just to help soften that line and blend it out and blend it into that corner. This really is a pretty colour. I'm surprised actually though, because these and the skin tone, or skin tone for me anyway, are the only mattes in here. But then you've got a yellow, two pinks, a peach, a green and a blue shimmer. So it would have been nice if there'd been maybe a couple of extra options with the matte shades. I mean, we could have lost one of those pinks, pink lemonade and strawberry. I don't think there's really a need for two pinks in the palette. And we could have perhaps got a nice burgundy to deepen shades up with. And likewise, blueberry fizz. When I think of a lemonade, I don't think of blueberry fizz. I do think of cucumber, because obviously I've had cucumber in like pink lemonades before, but I've never had blueberries in them. Maybe that's an American thing. If I've got anybody American or Canadian watching, do let me know if that is actually a thing, and whether it's just we don't do it here in the UK. Right. I'm just going to take the pigment off of that brush. And now I'm going to come in with this fluffy brush. Now, I always apply shimmers wet, partly because it helps to minimise fallout, partly because it helps to increase the metallic shine of a pigment, but also I find it tends to make them last longer during the day on my eyes. Now, that is not foiling your shadow. Foiling your shadow means having a loose pigment on a plate, dish, bowl, and using a mixing medium to mix it to either a paste or a liquid. All we are doing is applying the shadows wet, and never go into a shadow, a pressed shimmer, with a wet brush. Always go in with a dry brush and then spray the brush and then dry the brush off before going back in again. So, colour wise, I think I'm going to start off with this lemon soda. So I'm going to pick up some of that, And then I'm using this Obsession Pigment Boost. You can use anything. You can use a moisturising spray like a Mario Badescu or a MAC Fix Plus. You can use a setting spray. You can use a fixing spray. You can even use clean water. All we're doing is wetting the pigment. So, wet the pigment. I like to then dry the ferrule off to make sure there's no moisture going down affecting the glue that's holding those bristles. And I'm going to start off with this on the inner part of my lid here. That's really quite a pretty colour. And it's actually applying well over the matte shades that are there as well. Right, now if I was using my colour switch, I would take the pigment off and then dry the brush on my hand before going back into the palette. But obviously because I'm using a washcloth, not only does it take the pigment off, helpfully dries the brush at the same time for you. Okay, so nice dry brush again. Go back into the lemon soda. You don't need to see me spray a brush again, I think you're quite capable of doing that, aren't you? Now, because of my deep creasing this side, I do have to hold the lid out, otherwise the shimmer tends to skip over the creasing and then as it dries I get fallout. Don't do this unless you absolutely have to. I mean, just look at these are really beautiful. I know there were some criticisms about her first palette, the Latte palette, but I mean, so far this Lemonade one is really performing well. Well, it's performing well for me anyway. Okay, I'm going to take that pigment off the brush. And I think I'm going to go into... I'm going to peach, I think. Or should I go into pink lemonade? Oh, I should go into peach. Pick that pigment up. That's my phone. Wet the brush. And apply it to the middle of that lid. Look at that. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to flip it over to the dry side of the brush. Very gently blend it into the matte colour that side. And then gently buff over the two shimmers there to blend them together. Isn't that pretty? Oh, I feel like a fruit cocktail right now. Okay, clean my brush off and dry it before I go back in again. Back into the peach. These shadows are super soft. And wet brush. And go on to the middle. See, I could cut the crease here if I wanted, but I like to see whether the shimmers have enough pigment themselves to go over the matte colour that I've already put down, and you can see that these definitely do. So I use the dry side of the brush just to blend those shades together there, flip it back to the wet side, top it up, back to the dry side and blend it, and then buff the outer edge again with the dry side here. Isn't that a pretty look? Right, I am going to go off camera and I am going to do my foundation, etc. And I will be back to finish off this look on the under eye here. So, it would be awesome if you please don't go anywhere until I'm back, because obviously for me this is going to take a little bit of time. For you in YouTube world, instant. Here I come. I'm back. See, told you I was instant. Okay, using the flat packer brush again. Sun's come out, can you tell? Using the flat packer brush again, I am going to go into chai tea. I'm just going to dip the very tip of the bristles in the shadow, and then very gently buff up under the lower lashes, close as I can, just linking up with the outer corner that we did on the upper eye. I always flinch this side because obviously I don't have any peripheral vision, and tend to poke myself in the eye quite a bit. A little bit low this side, so just going with my finger and smudge it a wee bit more. Okay, let's take the colour off of the brush. There we go, that's better. And then I'm going to pick up a little bit of mango, which was the first shade we put in, and just run that along the under eye as well, partly to soften that chai tea we've just put in, but also to continue the lovely colour story that we've got on the top lid. Seriously, this is just, I am absolutely loving this palette. I think you can probably tell that though from my reactions, can't you? Okay, time to highlight. I think I'm going to go in with another one of my Depop bargains. I managed to get Sarcophagus in the big pan. I only paid £8 for it instead of nearly 30, which was jolly nice, and it is genuine as well. Right, so I'm just going to pop a little bit under the tail of my brow here, and the same on this side. This is just a little flat topped brush that I picked up. I think it was one of a set that I got from eBay ages ago. And I'm going to pop some just on the inner corner here to add a little youthful brightness. And continue that along to meet the under eye colour that we put on. Because my eyes are very sensitive and they tend to stream all year round because of my fibro, I tend to avoid putting things on the waterline unless I'm doing it, you know, just for a quick photo for Instagram or something, because literally my eyes will start streaming within about half an hour of putting it on, and you know, within an hour it'll all be balled up like a little eye booger, which is not pretty. If you have fallout from doing under eye or anything, just sweep it away with a fluffy brush. And then I'm going to go and zoom you out a little bit. When I say a little bit, I obviously mean hello. This is my Chic Pro highlighter brush from Dominique Cosmetics. So I'm just going to just basically cover myself in highlight, to be quite honest, because, well, it's what I do, folks. I kind of have a Tin Man aesthetic. If I can't be seen from space, I haven't put enough highlighter on. And if people don't like that look, do you know what? That's absolutely fine. You don't have to, because it's on my face. So if you want to put a more subtle highlight on, or even no highlight at all, it's entirely up to you, my dear. It's your face. You do whatever makes you happy. So long as it's not offensive. Yeah, no writing swear words on yourself. That's not fun. But I do love this sarcophagus. I think this is actually taken over from Uranus or Uranus as my favourite shade of highlighter that he has ever done. Right, I'm going to pause you while I do mascara and lippy and stuff. You know how to do mascara and lippy. I'm also going to do something with my hair, and I'll be back for my final thoughts. Oh, hi, sorry. When I put my makeup on and it looks this good, I want it to stay put. Finally got to the bottom of the jasmine, and I'm now on my watermelon. I do have a code for Gerard. It's in my description box below if you wanted to use it. If you don't want to use it, well, that's entirely up to you, my darling. Right, so what are my final thoughts? She said, having just smudged mascara all over the front of it. Yay, well done, Bomber. Right, what are my final thoughts on the Lemonade palette? Well, I say final thoughts, the first impressions, really. As I said, when they arrived, all of the shimmers had hard pan. But I dealt with that, and the shimmers that I used, oh, just dug my thumbnail straight into the blue one, that's good. The shimmer that I used, which is this one and this one, don't appear to have got any hard pan. So I would imagine it's where she's gone in with her finger and tapped it on. I get that, a lot of people prefer to do that, but with nails like this, I do not want to poke my eyeballs out, thank you. I only see with one of them, I'd like to retain the sight in it. So my advice to you, if you've got this palette, or if you're thinking of getting this palette, if you can get hold of it anywhere, don't use your finger in the shimmers because they're going to go hard pan. The mattes were super buttery, not a huge amount of kick out apart from the darkest one, Chai Tea, and they blended out absolutely beautifully. Sorry, just trying my setting spray there. They blended out absolutely beautifully. These are probably some of the best mattes that I've used, which makes me even more annoyed that there aren't more of them in this palette. Personally, I would take out the nude tea shade. It's helpful, but it's really not necessary. And if you're anything more than a medium, you can't even use that as a brow highlight because it's going to go ashy on you. So I would have got rid of this one, probably the pink lemonade, the lighter of the two pinks, and this blue fizz down here, blueberry fizz, and I would have put a nice pink matte, a green matte, and a deep burgundy in here. and that to me would be more of a cohesive colour story. However, that being said, do I like the colours that are in here? Yeah, I wouldn't have bought the damn palette if I didn't like them. I'm going to have fun playing it with the rest of those shimmers. I'm going to see whether the shimmers are the ones that you can actually blend out through the crease without losing too much pigment on them. And you're probably going to see this again on my channel before long. So far, first impressions, I really love it. And if you're wondering what this gorgeous, which matches my top lippy is, it's Jeffrey's Coral Fixation from his Summer 2018 collection. If you can't get that, probably the closest match now would be... See, Anna Nicole is more of a red-orange than this. And Flamethrower goes a bit patchy. But it would kind of be a mix of those two. If you can't get hold of this one. If you can get hold of this, and it's not too heinous a price, I'd say go for it, because I have no buyer's remorse right now, put it that way. So, I hope you have found this helpful. If you have, it'd be awesome if you could hit that like button for me, comment, share, subscribe. When you subscribe, don't forget to ring my bell, and choose all notifications so that you get told every time that I upload another one of these films. And talking of another one, I got a fair few to choose from now, sweetie pie. Why not pop over and see if you've missed any recent ones? And once you finish watching and liking and commenting and sharing on all of mine, why don't you pop over and visit my beautiful sisters from Another Misters, the beauty YouTuber growth group, who are listed, as always, in my description box below. Right, all that remains for me to say, because I can hear the neighbours getting started again and the music's going to go again, I can just tell, is you'll stay fabulous. And I'll see you next time. Bye for now.